Is he gonna say that he poured the soap, the soap tea threepenny before, and then it was poisoned, and then he drank it? He poured the soap tea threepenny, and then left his cup alone, and then drank it. The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison, whilst feigning distraction in our debate, ne'er did a drop of his own drink pass his lips. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus 'tis no surprise that poison be not found in the tea I did pour into the molds of soap. The poison was slipped into the cup after the tea had been poured. The normal way for poison to be administered, in my experience. Quite. Otherwise, it would be disastrous if the poisoner were to mix up the cups, for instance. If they had never seen The Princess Bride. But no poison bottle was found at the scene. Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. The absence of a vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. Ugh, I knew that. By now it should be perfectly clear. A bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused's hands. Are we gonna do the out damn spot? Are we gonna do that soliloquy next? Sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shamspeare, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. Wherefore would I lie? Verily, I have no cause. I have not to lose. Well, I do declare. Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, please proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Are you saying that you saw the moment when the poison was added to your tea? To have witnessed the act, then drank the tea, thou dost describe the actions of a fool. Quite so, quite so. But no one likes going thirsty, do they? Sooner would I die quenched than parched, would I have the choice. Actually, on the night in question, the water main was frozen, I believe, wasn't it? Were it not for the tea, in sooth, I would sooner have died frozen than quenched or parched. Right. No ice coins means no heating. The witness had more than one brush with death on the night in question, it would seem. Remind the court, Mr. Shamspeare, as to whether the accused drank any of the tea which he brought with him. With the greatest of pleasure, my liege. Hold it! So, we don't believe this. But the teacup Mr. Natsume drank from was found completely empty at the scene. Let's not forget the defendant's maxim. Drink tea while it's hot. I did gulp from the poisoned cup that night, and in mine agony did I writhe uncontrolled. In fits of pain, I did knock the fellow's cup, and its contents spilt as blood from a gaping wound, methinks. Though certainly 'twas after I had made the coins of ice from his tea. An upset cup was found on the table that the victim was slumped over. There is no contradiction here. It's true, there was no tea left in either cup that we found at the scene. But still, something about this statement is troubling me. Yes, of course. I know what it is. It's Mr. Natsume's wise drink tea while it's hot maxim, isn't it? No, I'm not sure that's it. Thank you, witness. Now, reiterate for the court what it is that occupied you after your guest had left and before you drank your tea. So, I think I should be able to present the teacups here. There's no tea ring inside of Mr. Natsume's cup because he drank it quickly without leaving it in the cup to make a tea stain.
Objection!
Yes. And then he's gonna claim, no, I drank out of that cup, or something. You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question. But that's impossible. How, Chop Logic? What is this, ye dark-clad fiend? Chop Logic? Oh, I'm thinking of the to be or not to be speech. No. The other one. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio, a man of infinite jest and something folly. And then he says something about the skull being quite chop-fallen. So chop-fallen is a pun, I think, because the chop also referred to, like, your jaw, maybe? So he was like, oh, it's literally skull without a jaw. And it also means something else that I don't know. And chop logic is a made-up word, making this interlude pointless. The two teacups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant. Didn't I say I was going to go read Romeo and Juliet in between streams? That didn't happen. Have a clear difference between them, one that represents incontrovertible proof. Incontrovertible? What difference? Look at the inside of the cups. Just here, there's a clearly visible ring. Yes, a tea ring. Commonplace enough. Indeed. Such stains occur all too readily when one leaves tea in the cup for a while. And yet Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring. Good Lord, you're right. It's completely clean. And prithee, sir, what makest thou of it? Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday. The Japanese saying he quoted. Drink tea while it's hot. That's right. Yes, the jittery Mr. Natsume was true to his usual self that night and drank his tea in no time. If, as you claim in your testimony, he didn't touch a drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well. After the several hours the tea was left standing. But, in short, Mr. Shamspeare, you clearly lied to the court. Get thee to a nunnery!
Objection!
As a rule, I fill my hallowed chalice up to Oh my god! I didn't know there were rules? Where is Faded? Faded will be shocked. Can we object to this? Did he oh my god. I'm gonna have to go back. We're gonna review the tape. Review the tape. Did he fill it more than 7 times? Can't believe it's actually coming true. The cup counting. Oh my god. I might make a video. I might make a separate video just for this. As a rule, I fill my hallowed chalice up to 7 times during any one trial. Don't want to keep that information to yourself and Faded Oasis. Yet on occasion, tedium distracts me and I pour more times than I intended until the bottle is dry. Your drinking habits are fascinating, but irrelevant. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. It was definitely more than 7. Definitely. To William Shamspeare. Yes, my liege.
Though you previously stated that you made the coins of ice from the leftover tea in the accused's cup, could it be that you were perhaps mistaken?
Oh, I can do that? I can just take back my testimony in a Phoenix Wright case? Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Could it be that, yes, perhaps there was some tea remaining in the spoiled teapot left at the scene? A fact that had vanished from your memory until now.
Faith, my liege, thou art... God, what did I do? Faith, my liege, thou art a magician. For verily 'tis as though thou hast seen with thine own eyes that night. What? This is also leading a witness. We're way past that. Oh my god. Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but lo, when I looked, 'twas empty. Thus did I use the dregs that festered in the teapot, as my liege did suggest.
Objection!
And you've just suddenly remembered now that you made a mistake before. Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection!
People's memories are imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead.
Phoenix, of course, is not going to object. I mean, I guess if if the defense doesn't object, then you can get away with it. Lead as much as you want.
But in any case, it makes no difference. The victim's most recent testimony tells us of two things of note. Firstly, that the poison was put into the victim's teacup only, and secondly, that the spoiled cup was not the source of the insipid ice coins which have bewitched this court.
The prosecution makes a fine summary of the facts.
Furthermore, the testimony remains valid in full support of the established facts. In other words, the inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist.
No!
Oh, what does that mean then?
Oh, I do declare, it means that there's no issue with the gas thief's testimony.
Apart from the bit about the thieving gas, obviously.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear, after I did dine at Grubb's Grubbery Alehouse that night, naught did pass my lips but the black tea given me by the Japanese, whose back be stooped as low as death.
And on what did you dine, sir?
Why, I did partake of my favorites, a broth as wouldst be called soup, and a leaf as wouldst be called salad.
As insalubrious a menu as the establishment where it was served.
But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. Willingly would I suffer what punishment 'tis seen fit to serve a wicked thief of gas. But I pray ye wise and noble fellows, ne'er forget the simple truth. That be one thing, and this be another. Jurors, all your humble servant Shamsphere doth entreat you, punish the Japanese fellow for his sins. My lord! If I may speak, my lord? Yes, Mr. Foreman? I believe we may have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer. By me? I do declare you may be right. We all know the waif there was making coins of ice to keep himself warm. His lawyer lad says if he's stealing gas, he deserves a dose of poison, eh? I didn't say that. He's been leading us up the garden path is what he's been doing. I really never said anything like that. What we just heard from the victim there has opened our eyes again, and our fierce punch buttons, which we are going to use to Hadouken right now. We've reached a decision this time, and we won't be swayed from it.
The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman. We'll duly hear the jury's findings.
What? No, you can't.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord.
Oh, happy day. How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination again.
Very well, the court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
Here we go. A man of logic, me, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid paying. That's not a reason to convict my client. The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely... What does that... We're far flung. We're light years outside of actual justification. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
And truth be told, the tea my wife saw... Truth be told, Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? I do believe that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind.
No. You really should mind. I love the idea that he came to Great Britain specifically to be like, we want to have good courts, not like we have back in Japan. Teach me your ways. Like, oh, we just put frickin' anyone up there and let them say anything. Absolutely anything. The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't as unassailable as we'd hoped. And Mr. Shamspear was poisoned. There can be no doubt of that. Then how are we supposed to turn this around? I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shamspear was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court incontrovertibly. But that's surely almost impossible at this stage. If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsume will... I'm guilty.
No delays, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination.
Start with the most helpful jury member, the most knowledgeable on all subjects. This guy.
Hold it!
Does that mean if the victim could be shown to have ingested something else, you'd change your leaning?
Sorry, what's that now?
Oh, I was just saying, if the victim did actually eat or drink something else on the night.
What's the matter with you?
Sorry?
I said if nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all?
I fear there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here. Compared to the other jurors who don't even appear to have anything to say about the case at all, it would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently. I suppose. The trouble is, he has selective hearing? Exactly. But still, this juror may well be the key to the breakthrough that we so desperately need. This is hopeless. There's no way for me to appeal to these people. I do think that the only way we shall overcome this difficult situation is by exposing the way in which you already said that. I don't need to hear it again. I don't need to hear it again. Come on. I have absolutely no idea how it did happen. Mr. Naruto, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten. Oh, like what? It's important to watch everyone involved and pursue people if they react to something someone else says. If you'd like me to remind you exactly what I mean, I'd be more than happy to, of course. Once again, Soseki-san is giving me a tutorial on something I already know. Then again, I don't want the world to turn into sand, so I'm going to say no. Get the good ending. I don't think there's any need. It's vital we start trying to change these jurors' minds as soon as possible. Of course. I'm sure you're right. If you are fucking dumb, then okay.
Hold it!
Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? Well, if you like. I mean, to be honest, I'd take poison over gas every time. You'd take poison? But what I mean is poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it? Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man. It's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room. Ah! You're right! I hadn't considered that at all. Young lawyer man. Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our company's legal representative. Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. Anyway, the point is, I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past.
Hold it!
Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so. She's really buzzing now. All I've heard about our wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison.
Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madame. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable.
My point exactly, but gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know.
More devious? Who, madam?
Other gas companies, of course. Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting. We generate gas and deliver it to our customers fair and square.
Indeed. Nobody is questioning that, madame. Altamont is an exemplary gas company.
But there are other, unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all. What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people? Oh, they sell gas NFTs. Actually brilliant. You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that.
They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible?
Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with the household supplied by those pipes, and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours, without us even knowing it. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally. What a brazen form of theft! When we visit customers' houses to collect the money from their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks. Doesn't seem the least bit important. Let's keep going. I had no idea. Almost unbelievable. It might seem unbelievable to you, but it's happening all the time, right here in the capital. It's very difficult selling something you can't see, you know. Very difficult indeed.
Thank you, that will do. Clearly. This is a very involved subject, but I fear we have digressed rather too much already. I concur, though if my learned friend wishes to become an expert in gas, I believe the subject will suit him well. To your new career in nothingness.
Thank you so much.
You'll turn your attention to the next juror's assertion, please, counsel.
What's that? Go back and question the same person again? Okay.
Hold it!
I did it. Beep 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 boop beep boop boop beep 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 boop 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 beep.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3, or are you just opening your mouth very wide for no reason? Oh golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry. I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled about it recently, you see. Go on. An Altamont gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in. You know what he did? I'm afraid I have no idea. Please, tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows. It was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean? I'll explain, if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network. But how does blowing into the pipes come into it? Obviously, there's gas in the pipes, and it's at a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment.
Ah, I see. In other words, if upon blowing into the pipe, the lights of an adjacent property that has no contract with your company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes. That's actually smart. All right.
Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around the neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker. The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might. Now you can guess what happened, can't you? Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean... That's right. The lights didn't just flicker. They went out, along with the stove. Gas started pouring into the house. What a disaster. The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard, so the flames went out. I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all? I said. Alright, so that must be... That's how, Guy Face Shake Sham was trying to... Well, how he successfully killed, the first guy, and how he was trying to kill Soseki was by blowing into Oh, is that what's behind the painting? They were like, there's no safe behind the painting. Oh, there's a light right above it. Yeah. He would go up there and he would unscrew it and he would blow into the hose. The gas hose pipe. So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps and stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room. Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps, yes. This is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for. Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh, well, if you like. I don't mind. Well, I do. That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that tried to diddle us. Like I said, madame, it's widely known already.
Very well. Juror number 3, you will amend your statement accordingly.
Yes, my lord. Although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Blow too hard in a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house. Then you're in real trouble. Alright, so I don't actually see how that helps just yet.
Hold it!
This isn't the time or place to be discussing the price of gas, madam. But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas, and air is free. Why should Altamont Gas cost money? Bang your gavel, Judge. She is right. Abolish the sale of gas right now. It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever. This isn't the time or the place to be ruthless. Just gonna go on a rampage. If I might interject here. Yeah, fine, go ahead. There's no rules. It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man that the cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man. That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and stealing gas. Utterly unforgivable. No, Mr. Natsume isn't the one who done stealing gas. Oh, thank you not to go on adding more crimes. Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It's as made up as the price of gas. This guy ever have anything to say?
Hold it!
Give it to me. All the evidence, you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache. Says the Englishman with a bigger mustache. Which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind. If only we had that kind of evidence. Don't worry, this summation examination has barely started, really. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light. Let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock.
Hold it!
Talk to me about your tea. You mean it's poisoned? That's right. It's happened to Tidy a few times now.
This is most troubling indeed.
It's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get in at tea time, see? And I see her doing it, my wife. She gets that devilish look on her face and she slips some white powder into my cup. And you drink it anyway? I was brought up proper, I was. If someone gives you a cuppa, you drink it. Confirmed by Odd Garrett. And what happened to you? What did it taste like? It was god-awful, believe you me. Salty as hell. Then I think perhaps what your wife put in your tea was salt. No! So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, eh? Unbelievable.
Let's move on, please.
Alright, can I examine this some more? When you say extinguish everything in the house, Do you mean even on different floors? Oh yes, all the floors are connected to the same pipe after all. That's true of every building, because gas supply contracts are issued for whole properties. Wow, I had no idea it was possible to extinguish gas appliances simply by blowing down the pipe. It's not something we like to publicize, to be honest, but we have to carry out these investigations, as I'm sure you can appreciate.
Indeed. It has been mentioned on more than one occasion in the papers, even.
Is that so? It's been mentioned to me, too, very recently. Maybe I should unplug my heater and blow into the natural gas pipe. Try and explode some of my neighbors. Maybe that'll help. With what? I don't know. An incident involving the gas stove going out inexplicably, almost leading to someone's death. Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps... Yes. It's finally starting to fall into place, the secret link that joins all these strange occurrences. Okay, but what contradicts what here? Blow too hard into the gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house. Gas is too expensive. So should we say that because he may have blown into the pipe, that he inhaled some gas? Let's try it. It doesn't...
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious, to whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other.
There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's deed did, in a manner of speaking. Oh, we're going with manners of speaking. Okay. That's what I was missing, is that it's only true in a manner of speaking. Passed the victim's lips on the night in question. What passed his lips was his own breath from blowing. That counts.
What explanation?
Blind, welcome. Good to see you. I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene to see if there were any traces of poison there?
I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe. Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance.
What a piece of work is a man. What are you trying to say, Mr. Shamspear? What speakest thou, prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir. I thought I'd been quite clear as gas. But let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body. This was not at all what I was was suggesting. I thought he just, I don't know, he put his lips on the thing and at the same time there was some kind of a gas rush. And he inhaled a bunch of the gas, and that was poisonous? Good lord! Are they tasty then? Gas pipes? Is that what he's saying? Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him, For shame, madame, speaking thy fancy. I assure you I'm not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection! This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friends' conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips to the pipe that feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist or stand on a box. These are empty assertions. There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shamspeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shamspeare has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it. Alright, you've got our attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself. So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear and eye and finger, I need to make this opportunity count. Yeah, he has been, he's really got he cast haste. He got a lot of haste gear. He can throw, his cooldown on wine throwing is much lower now.
Take that!
Take that! What the? These are, wait, what are they called? Yes! Skin prints that were found at the scene.
Skin prints, counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however.
My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Shamspeare touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, that's black magic, isn't it? Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's that great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure.
I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shamspeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here.
Around the hanging picture there. Indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible.
Well, I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it. The gas lamp. Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shamspeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall in front of that lamp.
Right. What have you been up to, you nut?
I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you'll recall juror number 3's statement... What? Me now? When the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights and gas stove to go out, and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shamspeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will.
Crikey!
Are you suggesting that the man purposefully caused the gas to... He's reloading.
Whilst I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during an summation examination, I must toast my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law. What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zieks? This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints, clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case.
But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by a great detective.
It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands. Ugh! Certainly, even research of this nature by the by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
But... Please, my lord. Can't you just freaking do it anyway? You're the judge. Do whatever you want. Miss Susato? It was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wished to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree. 6 dings. That means he's innocent. You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide. Juror number 3. Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy. Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise. No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's not fair dinkum evidence.
Wait a minute. He was saying crikey before. And now he just said fair dinkum. Isn't... Now, Australia, as far as I know, isn't in Europe. But I think they say those things there and not England. Right? Right? Aren't those Australian? Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. If just one more juror changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue. Thank you, Mr. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you. Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success. Why, Mr. Shamspeare, you seem to be losing your composure. Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it.
Very well. Continue, counsel.
Very interested in the results of this great detective... Okay, that doesn't count anymore. Gas doesn't come for free, right? So there was kind of a hint that what we had... If I press on this now, will I get something else? All the evidence, you say? That's right. And there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at that Japanese man with the big mustache. No, this is the same thing as before. Oh no, it isn't! Now I can't skip it. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the enlightening... whatever. What do you make of that? What, your so-called skin prints? It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique developed by the great detective himself. The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. Was Gina... I don't know. One of the other characters. I forget. I don't have that many voices. And if Mr. Shamspeare had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was. Well, yes, I won't deny it's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. Besides, yes? Even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh. Can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid. I can't change my stance. You do make a very valid point, sir. What? That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty. No! Look, you got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is. Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. Is there any more proof I can do? Can I show that Mr. Shamspear really did blow down the gas pipe on the night in question? I don't think there's any evidence in this picture. Never examined this, but... Oh no, did I? I did. There was a check mark. What's my other option? Oh, testimony from Mr. Garadeb. Or Soseki, I guess. There is witness testimony that substantiates it. What's that? Testimony? This is incredible. Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. The person whose testimony revealed details about the... Okay, so I guess it's going to be Soseki. He hasn't taken the stand today. Yesterday.
Take that!
Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant. Mr. Soseki Natsume himself. The defendant? At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. Even on that fateful night it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamspear's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed. But before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me. On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that a mere coincidence or not? Good golly. So that Shamspear fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose? Hold your horses there. What would he do that for? Mr. Foreman! What is it, man? We cannot allow judgment to be passed whilst this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree that there's more to this case than meets the eye. Fair enough. Fair dinkum enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic first and foremost. First and foreman. That's 4 jurors leading towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue. As
the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. 2 jury members now called guilty, 4 now called not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamspeare.
My lord, how can thy humble Shamspeare serve thee?
What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination?
So, God mend me, I do solemnly swear. I recall aught of either the lamp or the pipe.
But your handprints have made a tidy mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that then, eh? I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5.
Who, me?
As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in a British court of law. Ugh! As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Ah,
Objection!
but the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shamspeare's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there...
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind.
Is that... No, he's thrown a couple bottles. He's thrown a couple bottles before. It was extremely funny the first time it happened.
You will recall that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of tea were required.
Yes.
Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible.
Ugh! I didn't think about that.
In any case, counsel, I fail to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you describe. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipework where he lived?
There's only one possibility that I can think of, and that is... to use the leaking gas to commit murder.
Order, order! Counsel! Precisely whose life do you propose this man was plotting to end?
The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shamspeare wanted to end the life...
Take that!
If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, could be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around those parts myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time. Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of the residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shamspeare was trying to end.
Outrageous!
I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim this man was trying to murder.
Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved. That's never happened before in the Phoenix Wright case. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged, namely, that the accused is the aggressor here.
What? How can you still claim that?
Let us indulge your fantasies for a moment and assume there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question that then arises is who put it there? Who did put it there? The only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with the gas supply and his intent to kill. Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison? So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shamspear's murderous designs?
You mean to suggest?
Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known.
What?
In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was clearly a retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Whatever Mr. William Shamspeare may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could have possibly perpetrated that attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that a clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend?
Achoo! Ah, he sneezed really hard. Hurt himself. So that is... Oh, I wonder if it's gonna be the gas guy who was peeking into his room. Is that the deal? Like, the gas company was going to kill him for stealing threepennies of gas from them? How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond, otherwise the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage. What advantage? Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shamspear's room, so we must name that person now and absolve Mr. Natsume of guilt. Name the true culprit? I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. The evidence, the poison, is all pointing to a particular person now. A person who will be revealed next time. There's a possibility that we're only like half an hour from the end, but I've been wrong about that many times before. So we'll stop right here. Thank you, everybody. Continuing to enjoy the game a lot. I know, but I have to stop somewhere. If it were possible to, like, I don't think we're close to the end. I think we still got a ways to go. I object to your booing. So tune in next time if you want to see the conclusion. What's today? Thursday? So we'll stream again on Saturday. Streaming again on Saturday with more of this. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the hosts, for people who hosted. And I will see you for the conclusion of this case and likely the start of Case 3 on Saturday. Have a great night.